Good evening. Earlier this week, for the commentary at the baby naming to a verse in our parsha, offer a little different commentary connected to what's going on in Israel and the nation on this sad day. So the verse says, "You shall be holy people to me. You must not eat flesh torn by beasts in the field. You shall cast it to the dogs." Okay, that's the verse. So there are three questions that you have to ask on this verse. One is, why is it defining holiness in the context of not eating an animal that was torn apart in the field? Number two is, why is it talking about a field? We can't eat that in the house as well. And the last one is, why is it speaking about giving it to the dogs? So Rashi has an explanation. He says holiness comes from staying away from unkosher types of foods. That's a unique type of holiness. He says the field, because that's what happens. Animals tear each other apart in the field. So it's talking about what happens in reality. And the last piece is the dogs. He says it's a reward to the dogs because they didn't bark when we left Egypt. So it's a reward. It doesn't necessarily connect all the pieces, but it's mentioning them in a positive light. Another interpretation, though, is kind of like a midrash that I want to offer, is to say it's saying something like this: when you see all around you people tearing each other apart, it says, "Eat flesh. Must eat flesh torn by beasts in the field." When you're out in the field in the world and the people are acting like animals, tearing each other apart, we should rise above that. We should maintain our holiness and set an example for the way you're supposed to be. And that's a way to read it in connection to like our enemies in Israel and those who have been trying to, throughout all the generations, to harm us, to destroy us, to tear our bodies apart. That we shouldn't engage in that. We have to fight back, but we have to know that we have to set an example of holiness for the world. So there's a story I once shared here before of the Klausenberger Rebbe that really highlights this. He was in, and I always think it's good to connect tragedies. They're all different, especially the Holocaust, its own reality. We're going to take the message, though, from this. So he's in Auschwitz, and he lost his whole family, 11 children, and also his wife. And then he was in Auschwitz, and the SS guards started to taunt him. They started to pull his beard and push him around, and they started to point their guns at him, at the Klausenberger Rebbe. They go, "Tell us, Rebbe, do you really believe that you are the chosen people?" And he said, and they were all laughing, and he says, "Most certainly." And they were laughing, you're starting to get upset now. So one of them lifted their rifle above his head and sent it crashing onto the head of the Rebbe. He started to bleed. He fell to the ground. And they said, "Do you still think you're the chosen people, Rabbi?" And he says, "Yes, we are." So at that point, they got so angry, he started kicking the Rebbe in the chin, and he repeated to ask the same question. And he said, "You stupid Jew, you lie here on the ground, beaten and humiliated, in a puddle of blood. What makes you think that you are the chosen people?" And his answer was, with his mouth gushing with blood, he said, "As long as we are not the ones kicking, beating, and murdering innocent people, we are the chosen people." And so I think that's what this verse, you can read the verse like that. Do not be Anshe Kodesh, be holy, be chosen people. Don't fall down to where the other nations are, that they're eating each other up, they're tearing each other apart. They do it to us, they do it to other people. That's not our path. We have to defend ourselves in a very strong way. Remember, we're Anshe Kodesh. That's the example we should set for the world. In a moment,